Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes. It's Saturday. It's 8:45, and that can only mean one thing. Yes, it can. It's FPL Talk Part 35. Happy February, everyone. Happy February. And what a week. Started off this week, like a lot of you guys, I'm sure, thinking to yourselves, I got this team pretty much nailed. I know what I'm going to do. Yes, it's a double game week. It's a game week. And I'm going to bring in a Liverpool asset and I'm going to captain them, or I'm going to bring in an Everton asset and I'm going to have them for the double game week. But everything's happening, isn't it? Really, lots of talk on social media about using the assistant manager chip, lots of talk about triple captaining, lots of talk about getting 3 Liverpool players in or as many Everton players in as you can. And I thought that was a great strategy, like a lot of you people did. And hey, we'll see exactly what happens, shall we? So without further ado, I will get you guys seeing what I see as always. So first and foremost, let's run over the usual. Let's get the fixtures out of the way. So today we have Nottingham Forest versus Brighton. That's the early kickoff at 12:30, and that's going to be a decent game, but I can see a Forest win. However, I can also see Brighton scoring. So unfortunately, I'm toying with it as well. You'll see in a minute in terms of who to pick as a defender. For my starting 11, do I go Forest or do I go a different kind? I can see a 2-1 win for Forest in that one. Hopefully Wood keep scoring because I brought him in, if you remember, and he blanked last week. So I'm hoping for something from Chris Wood today. Adoy and Elanga are doing quite well as well. Maybe even Gibbs White. I do like Gibbs White. I've been speaking about him quite a bit. Brighton-wise, bit of a strange team that seemed to have dried up a little bit since Welbeck was injured. João Pedro has been a disappointment as usual. His usual disappointing thing. But if they get a penalty, suddenly the interest in João Pedro goes up. Today, I don't see him. Well, I think maybe a dunk goal, believe it or not. I can see a set piece goal from those guys. So keep an eye on dunk. Otherwise, usual Jorginho Rutter is haunting me at the moment. Coming on for like 5 minutes, but still doing well. So maybe he'll be involved. Bournemouth versus Liverpool. What a first double game week game for Liverpool against Bournemouth away. Interesting game actually, this one. Bournemouth are doing superb, aren't they? Iraola's got them playing so well. Attacking wise, they're doing really well as well. But they're Liverpool, aren't they? And Liverpool, they crumbled, didn't they, against PSV Eindhoven, albeit not with their first team out. But I can see them playing at full strength, and I can see them probably just about squeezing victory, maybe a draw or victory in this one. Couple of goals for both teams. Semenyo's doing okay, isn't he, for Bournemouth? Doing really well for them at the moment. Kirkes is doing really well, as those two players are brilliant. So if anything's going to happen, I can see it go through Semenyo and potentially a goal or two for those guys. Otherwise, Liverpool, as always, I'm hoping that all eyes are on Mo Salah. If you've got triple Liverpool, you're hoping for a good performance, but maybe some of you have factored in it's against Bournemouth and are not particularly worried about this first game. But don't forget they've got Everton in the second one, so it'll be interesting. So obviously Mo Salah is the man to watch. People might be triple captaining today. Otherwise, you've got a lot of Liverpool assets. So unfortunately, guys, I can't see clean sheets for us, but I can see points for Salah, potentially, maybe even an assist or a goal against Bournemouth, but not lots. Everton versus Leicester, the first of their 2 double game week fixtures. Good game. Leicester, had Leicester not done too well last week, I would have said this is an Everton cert, even a scraped cert, but nonetheless a win for Everton. Now, I'm not so sure. I think they'll still win Everton, but I don't think they're going to keep a clean sheet. And Leicester, look, they've got a tiny bit of sort of bounce, bringing in Ruud van der Stoy's doing quite well now for them as well. Vardy scoring, and so Everton, I think, might just win. The reason being one man, of course, up front, Ndiaye. The news this week that Calvert-Lewin's out injured again. So Ndiaye is back scoring, and Vardy did really well in the previous match. So Iliman Ndiaye is the man to watch Everton. I think maybe a 1-0 or 2-1 win just for Everton in this game. Ipswich versus Southampton. This is a bit of a... I don't know, if you're an Ipswich fan and a Southampton fan, this is a good fixture for you guys. But for everyone else, it's a bit sort of great. A lot of people do have Ipswich and Southampton assets as like, the fifth defender or something like that. Or you're not going to use it sort of backup fodder or backup midfielder maybe in Dibbling or someone like that. Quite frankly, if you've got a 3.9 defender from Ipswich or a 4 or 3.9 defender from Southampton, you might consider playing them with the fixtures going on around. This game, I think, is going to end up with a possible Ipswich squeeze win. maybe a 1-0 or perhaps a 1-1. Cagey, it was 1-1 in the previous fixture, the reverse at St Mary's, so potentially the same go. In terms of goals, things like that, I do like Delap, which I think he's a really, really good player. So Delap potentially from that side of things. Southampton, tricky one really, isn't it? Maybe a Bednarek goal again. Who knows? He's done quite well for them recently. So 1-1. Newcastle, Fulham, great fixture for Newcastle to bounce back, but Fulham are decent, aren't they? They're not too bad. Anthony Robinson having a good season as usual in terms of fantasy points. You look at, you look at them. Smith Rowe's not really playing as much as he should be, and if he is, he's not producing enough points. The man really looking at is Iwobi, isn't he? He's doing really quite well. This season gets some good numbers, and Raul Jimenez, but Raul came off the other day for Muniz, so you've got to keep an eye on that Muniz and Raul rotation if you've got Raul in your team. Newcastle win though, because I can see Isak scoring yet again. Brilliant player, performing superbly. Anthony Gordon, I think, will be involved as expected, and Jacob Murphy continues to wind me up a little bit because when I bench him, he doesn't do anything. He does something, and when I play him, he doesn't do anything. So I'm getting the role reversal from Jacob Murphy. I've got him obviously in my whole team across the board, so I might play Jacob Murphy today. I expect Newcastle to win 2-1 against Fulham. Just a heads up, guys, if you're leaving comments or anything like that via Restream or anything, I'll get to them at the end. I'll allocate a bit of time and we'll have a quick look at those. I'll give you some thoughts. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'll give you some ideas of thoughts. I do have some DMs as well this week, so I'll let you know. And I'll read those out to you guys so you can see what people have asked. Wolves versus Aston Villa. Good game. Sort of Midlands derby, that one. Should be quite a good game, that one. Wolves, bit sketchy, but Cunha will be playing back. Strand Larsen's gone down quite a bit in price, hasn't he, recently? Don't forget they've still got Nouri and Gomez. So they've got players that are capable of doing something. Wolves against Villa. Will they win? No, is the answer to that. I think they might get a goal, possibly two, but I can see Aston Villa getting a couple. And Watkins, will his head be turned? I posted up on X about Watkins and Arsenal's links to him, bid for him the other day. You're not going to get Watkins for 60 million. Put it this way, Arteta. No two ways about it. You're going to have to up that to the 100 million mark, give or take, especially as they've just got rid of John Duran. No chance. So Villa will win, I think, against Wolves. Probably a 2-1 win, something like that. Maybe a 3-1, 3-2. Watkins will be in the mix in that one, definitely. Morgan Rogers obviously did great, didn't he, in the midweek, getting a hat-trick. Those two, I think, and maybe Cunha, if you've got a Wolves asset. If you're lucky, an Aït-Nouri assist, but otherwise I think Aït-Nouri is going to be conceding today. That is the last fixture at 5:30. Then we have Sunday's matches tomorrow. We have Brentford versus Spurs. It's going to be a decent game, you know. It is. Brentford are good at home. Unfortunately, Risa is on and off, isn't he, really? 1 week he does well, Risa doesn't well the next week. A player you want in terms of consistency, Brian and Mbeumo. If you're going to bring anyone in from Brentford, he is the man. Risa's good, but there's an inconsistency. One thing that's interesting about Risa, he's had a lot of links, hasn't he, to Spurs and other teams as well. If Risa leaves, he also, I think, was a subject of a bid, wasn't he, for Forest? If he leaves Brentford, then maybe Risa becomes even more of an interesting proposition for you to bring in. But otherwise, I think Risa potentially on Sunday, otherwise, and Mbeumo if Brentford are going to do anything. I do think Spurs are going to win. I do think they're going to squeeze a 2-1 win out of this game. So Brentford's goal potentially from Mbeumo. Spurs-wise, Son possibly, but again, Son's a bit up and down, isn't he, with his form. Richarlison's back, maybe. Brennan Johnson, I think, was out injured, wasn't he? So I'm not sure if he's going to do much in this game. But the man to watch, really, and usually involved in things, is Dejan Kulusevski, isn't he? I think he's a man definitely to watch. So keep an eye on Kulusevski in that game. Maybe Son. So perhaps those two involved in the goals. Man U versus Crystal Palace. Very tough fixture for United. Even at home, very tough fixture. I'm thinking potentially a draw in this one. Maybe if United are lucky, a potential 1-0, 2-1 win, something along those lines. United-wise, Amad Diallo all day long is the man to watch. Even when he goes quiet, you think, bang, out of nowhere, he just scores. He did it last week. I was sitting there thinking, it's not going to be the points, and then he just goes and scores. But it was ruled out, wasn't it? I think, was it ruled out in the end for offside? Let's just get back to my points last week. Yeah, Amad Diallo did well, didn't he? But it was ruled out offside, wasn't he? So, as you guys know, he's the man to watch, isn't he? Manchester United's forward midfield player. It depends where Amorim plays him, because he sometimes sticks him on the right full-back position, and other times he's on the right wing. He needs to be right wing. He needs to be influencing play. Forget about who's in full-back and who you've got to send back. Just get him in his position. Get him in that pushed wide right side and see what he does. So he'll probably be the man to watch. Eze and Mateta, obviously, for Crystal Palace. If they're going to score, they are the providers, in my opinion. And then we have, without a doubt, people, and it's not me being biased because I'm an Arsenal fan, Arsenal City is the pick of the games this weekend, may I add, 2nd of February on Sunday at 4:30, big game, Arsenal City. Simply put, even though it's at the Emirates, I can see draw. Man City seem to be on a bit of an upward trajectory. They've done quite well in the past few weeks, haven't they? So those guys are scoring. Haaland's back scoring again. They've just brought in Mamouche, who looked really good, by the way, in his debut game. So I think City will probably score maybe a goal, maybe two. Arsenal will equal that, I think, maybe a goal, maybe two. So a 1-1 or 2-2 draw in this game for the teams. In terms of Arsenal assets to watch, Havertz. I know you're probably thinking, what? The guy does score occasionally. He does. He's got quite a few goals this season. So Kai Havertz is probably the man to watch. Maybe Odegaard, perhaps a penalty or a set piece for Arsenal. So Odegaard with that one. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Martinelli involved in some form, because I have Martinelli for Arsenal coverage. I obviously have Raya. Last year, I think City versus Arsenal, the reverse fixture at the Etihad. Raya left that game with a few points as well. Not 2, which is what you kind of expect from that fixture. I think he ended up with 4. So Raya might not be a bad shout for this game week, despite it being against City. In terms of City assets, Haaland and Foden, obviously, are the guys to watch in terms of goals. Maybe Guardiola, because he's done quite well recently as well. Then we move over to Monday, and Chelsea's match versus West Ham, a bit of a London derby over there at Stamford Bridge. I can see a Chelsea win. Very simply put, straight down the line, a Chelsea victory. I know it's against West Ham and they're doing and they've got Potter, but I still think that Chelsea are going to win that game. Not comfortably, but they'll win it. Possibly a 2-1 win. Palmer involved naturally in pretty much everything, isn't he, really? And annoyingly, I think Nicholas Jackson might do something against West Ham. I know I've just shocked the whole world by saying that. Nicholas Jackson can't hit a barn door for the past few weeks. I think might actually score and annoy us all those people that decided to ditch him. I really do. West Ham-wise, if you've got any chance, it's Kudus and Paqueta, maybe Soucek, but really Kudus and Paqueta are the players to keep an eye on from West Ham. And then we have the final game of game week 24, a Merseyside derby. Let's throw that right in on Wednesday, 2 days before the wonderful Valentine's Day. It's Wednesday, 12th of February. Don't forget, so it's a week or so after the final. I say the final, Monday's 3rd of February fixture would have been the final game week 24 fixture. We have another one wedged right in there. Wednesday, 12th of February, that game week will finish. It will conclude with Everton versus Liverpool. What a game that's going to be. The first Merseyside derby of this season, because if you remember, it was cancelled and called off and postponed previously due to the weather. So Everton, Liverpool, now this is going to be a great game. And I'll tell you why it's going to be a great game. First and foremost, it's at Goodison. So it's not at Anfield. So it's not one of those foregone conclusions where you go, it's at Anfield, Liverpool are great at Anfield. I mean, it's at Goodison. Secondly, it's the final game, isn't it, at Goodison in terms of Merseyside derbies. So it's a final Merseyside derby at Goodison Park, which is going to be really exciting. On top of that, Everton have got Moyes in, haven't they? New manager sort of style bounce. And more importantly, Everton's stats history in this Merseyside derby at Goodison is pretty solid. So a reason to start thinking about what you're going to do. However, people, Slot is new to this. Will he care really about the idea that Liverpool don't have good history at Goodison Park? No, he will not. First team is going out 100%. You think about the difference and the time between their first game and that one. They play on the 1st of February today, and then they'll play on the 12th. 11 days later. So you'd like to think that players will be rested, although, to be fair, they do have a Carabao Cup fixture in between that. So keep an eye on that. But in terms of players to watch, Ilman and Dye, if they're going to do anything Everton and Liverpool-wise, naturally, Mo Salah's going to want a piece of this one, isn't he? He'll probably turn up to this game with something to prove, want to break that history of how Liverpool have played and the stats and scores against Everton. So, guys, there you go. That is game week 24. Now, No. I will show you the team and I will explain it to you. So, quite frankly, the first 11 is exactly what you expect. David Raya is in goal against Manchester City. I've gone with him because he did quite well in the previous game. And more importantly, Fabianski. What's happened to him? Yeah, exactly. Fabianski, I don't know if he's still West Ham's number one. Areola played in goal, didn't he, for them in the last match? So I'm hoping that's not a permanent thing. So Raya in goal, Konate naturally because he has a double fixture, Bournemouth and Everton away. Nico Williams, as it stands, although I'm not going to lie to you, my biggest decision today, and I know you're probably thinking, bloody hell, I wish my biggest decision was what you're about to say. My biggest decision is whether I'm going to play Nico Williams or whether I'm going to play another defender instead, who I'll reveal. So Nico Williams against Brighton, as it stands, is in. Mikalenko, naturally, I brought him in. 4.3 million at the time, he's 4.4 now. He's got a double fixture, Leicester versus Liverpool. So Leicester and Liverpool, both home games for Everton. It'd be nice if he gets a clean sheet in one or both of those. Unlikely against Liverpool, but perhaps against Leicester. Palmer, West Ham United obviously is a definite. He is straight in. So he is my midfielder. Mo Salah, captain. Now, if you're not going to triple captain or do anything fancy this week, Mo Salah has to be your captain. Just for the double fixture purpose, really. Bournemouth and Everton away for Mo Salah. Martinelli in against Man City. Fingers crossed he does something. Tough fixture, though, for Arsenal, even at home. Jacob Murphy, as it stands, is on against Fulham. Again, that's a bit of a tricky one because I have Amad Diallo versus Crystal Palace. So, again, Nico Williams and Jacob Murphy are probably. Wisa against Spurs. Wood against Brighton. And Isak against Fulham. Now, the big reveal, people. This week has the social media and pretty much Reddit and everything's blown up through what you're going to do with your chips, hasn't it? Chips. Are you going to get fish with them? Are you going to get a kebab? No. It is all about what is going on. The huge conversation, and it's been that big this week, and I'm not going to go crazy with it, to be honest with you. I'm just going to touch on it, and I'm not going to tell you what to do at all. But the discussion this week has been with the assistant manager, or the Ass Man Chip, as it's being a very good name. Whoever came up with that, obviously, it's a nice little abbreviation. But yeah, the assistant manager Chip. My thinking, quite simply, on this is the start of the week. It was, you probably saw a post on X if you follow me, or if you just had a quick sort of browse or stalk. Basically, the key this week really has been the assistant manager Chip, and I really wanted Moyes in initially. I thought, do you know what, David Moyes, there's an upside there. He's got some okay fixtures. If he's Everton several places below, the teams above, especially Liverpool, who they play in the second match, and then the Leicester game, maybe they'll do well. That was pretty much set in my head. I'll do the assistant manager. More likely, just roll the dice, take a risk with David Moyes. However, as the week came on, sort of went on and went by, and more people speculated, there was a massive discussion about a double game week. Yeah, that's exactly what sort of sprung to mind. And that might well come to fruition. The key really is, how do Liverpool do in their Carabao Cup match? If they win against Spurs at home, they will get a double fixture, a Villa Wolves fixture, potentially. That'll be the next two. Remember, your assistant manager Chip, if you're going to play it, is available for 3 game weeks. So you get a double game week this week. As it stands a second, you would just simply get a single game week for your manager next week instead. And then you'll get whatever comes afterwards. So you'll get potentially 4 fixtures, 3 to 4 if you're going to play Moyes. However, this obviously revelation has occurred, hasn't it, really, where Liverpool could potentially get 5 games in the space of your 3 game week for your assistant managers. So simply put, really, in an ideal world, if you can do it, you'd be bringing in this man, wouldn't you? Honest lot. Yes, you would. And that's exactly what I've done, ladies and gentlemen. It's a punt, sort of a teeny-weeny punt, but a punt nonetheless, purely because if obviously Liverpool don't beat Spurs in the Carabao Cup return game at Anfield, then you won't get a double fixture, and you'll just end up with an irregular fixture next week and the week after. So you'll get 4 rather than 5. But 5, the chance that Arnes, like Liverpool, can get that. Now, I was quite fortunate, unlike a lot of people, in that I don't have to absolutely rip up my team to bring him in if they're looking to do that. I obviously had Gerald Kwanzaa, as a lot of you guys know, as a 3.9 bench fodder. What was the point? He was doing nothing. He was not playing. He might, watch now. You'll play for Liverpool during this game weeks, but there was no point having him. So simply put, I kicked him out. Don't forget that the assistant manager chip does not cost a transfer. So I had one free transfer in the bank. I thought, do you know what? I'm going to get rid of Gerald Kwanzaa. That frees up my Liverpool third spot. I'm going to bring in Jacob Greaves, who did quite well. He did well, didn't he, against Ipswich? He scored. I know he's not the greatest in the world in terms of players, but 3.9 Ipswich. Why not? Starter normally as well. So I brought in Jacob Greaves. That freed up my Liverpool slot. Bang, in comes Arne Slot. To me, bit of a no-brainer, really. Yes, we don't get the upside of him playing against teams 5 places above, like Moyes, but we do get the plus of him having potentially 5 fixtures. Liverpool have 5 fixtures, and I have double Liverpool already, so you can only have 3. Arne Slot now, Konate, and Mo Salah are my 3 Liverpool players. So there you go, just in case you're wondering what I did or who I've got. Arne Slot has been activated as my assistant manager chip. I am riding that wave like a lot of people who are saying, bring in Liverpool assets, get 3. Arne Slot's been mentioned a lot. It's Moyes or Arne Slot, basically. That's the decisions this week, isn't it, really? If you're going Moyes, you bring him in for the 2 games and then you swap him out potentially for Unai Emery or, something like that. Or maybe Silva. Silva's a good shout, Marcus Silva, because he'll be playing against a team who are several places above. Maybe an Ange Postecoglou, who might have a double game week as well. So something to keep an eye on for that potentially. Also, don't forget, for those people that have activated the chip and have brought in someone like a Slot, if all doesn't go to plan in terms of the double fixtures, you can maybe have a look at changing them out. It does cost a transfer, but you're going to get a transfer back, aren't you, when the deadline passes at 11 o'clock. Don't forget, 11 o'clock today. You'll get your transfer back. Maybe you can use that if you want to waste it or use it. Bring in another manager for the final couple of games. Maybe you can transfer that manager in and out over the game week. So consider that maybe. So my next decision really are my personal decisions, albeit nice ones to have. Amad Diallo, do I play him or not? Or do I keep Murphy on the first 11? And secondly, Greaves, do I play him or not? He's got Southampton at home. Or do I keep Nico Williams? Decisions, they're going to be last-minute-y kind of decisions, potentially. I'll have a think about those. As it stands right this second, you can see that my thought process is very simple. I probably want Nico Williams against Brighton, probably, and Greaves and Jacob Murphy against Fulham. I just think that the game against Crystal Palace might be tricky. Amad Diallo, don't forget, hasn't done a great deal. He did technically score in a couple of games, but they were both ruled out offside. So, you get what you get on VAR ruled them out. So he's close, but he hasn't technically scored. His consistency's dropped a little bit, 2 games without getting any kind of return. He did against Southampton, he did against Liverpool. Is he going to do it against Crystal Palace, where you go all the way back to Crystal Palace's game, where he played 75 minutes and he only got 3 points? So chances are he's going to get the same again, even at home. Then we've got Jacob Murphy versus Fulham. The only thing you can go off for this one is history in general, because he hasn't been playing every single game. He's obviously been on and off, but he did against Fulham previously get an assist in a 45-minute cameo. That was a Craven Cottage as well, so he got 4 points even then at 45 minutes. So you think, probably at home, Newcastle, he did do something in the previous game where he got an assist as well. So it's likely that I'll probably leave this. In terms of defence, tricky one really, because Nico Williams against Brighton, Hove only played 45 minutes. It was 2-2 draw at the Amex. So maybe it might be a last-minute thing that I kick out Nico Williams and bring in Greaves. I'm very much tempted to do that. As it stands, I think I'll leave Jacob Murphy. So that's my team this game week. Game week 24, big game week as well. Don't forget, double game week. We have a Merseyside derby as well. So Raya, Konate, Williams, Mikalenko, Jacob Murphy, Martinelli, Mo Salah as captain, Palmer, Wieser, Wood, and Isak Weiss. Potentially Greaves in and Nico Williams out. That'll be the only thing I do as a last-minute decision. So guys, let's have a quick look at what's going on Reddit this morning. I do like to check a lot of socials, but Reddit is my first go-to in terms of what's happening. Have a look at that. Minor carnage today. Wood's gone down. What a shock. I've only just brought him in as well, so great. I've lost money on him to begin with already, but I don't really plan to get rid of him yet. So Kufal Ben Johnson for Spurs. Wood's gone down. Moreno's gone down. Longstaff's gone down. Savino's gone down. Lewis, Dunk, Duran, and Thomas Partey. Up went Clivert and Alexander Arnold. Trent. In terms of price predictor tonight, Gakpo is going to go up. Maybe a lot of people are talking about dropping Gakpo, aren't they? Because they've got too many Liverpool assets. Gabriel's going to go down. Gomez is going down. Lancashire's gone down. Neto's going to go down. Gauchi, Raul, Trippier, Saliba. Mateta's going to go down as well tonight. Dango potentially up. And Dye potentially up tomorrow. This is, though. Gordon up. Stupinan up. Possibly Yaros potentially going up. Ismail Assar going down potentially. Timber going down. Son going down. Martinelli going down. I don't know. Havertz going down. Palmer going down. Shah, Wolfenden, and Anderson. So things to keep an eye on. As always, guys, I'm on the socials. You guys know that. I'm on X, AJ 1985p. I'm on Facebook, AJP85 channel. I'm on Twitch, A_J_P_8_5, and I'm obviously on YouTube, which is where a lot of you guys are watching. AJ Hardy 85. Let me know in the comments, DM, send me a chat message about what you guys are going to be doing in terms of decisions and choices this game week. It's a tricky one, isn't it? It really is. It's a fun one. So I'll get really quickly to the comments for the final few minutes. I said the comments, actually had some DMs. One person DM'd me saying, is it worth getting rid of Trent for Arne Slot? This person's obviously already got, I'm assuming he's already got triple Liverpool. The most popular one so far is Trent, Gakpo, and Mo Salah, isn't it, really? It's a tricky one, isn't it, really? I did say I'm not going to tell people what to do with their teams and sort of force them to do something. The answer to that really is you've got to weigh up the points that you think you're going to get, really, from that. Do you think that Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to get assists, essentially? Because that's what you're looking for, assists and goals versus... And a big question, I suppose, about that, the fixtures really against Everton, obviously they play against, and Bournemouth, is are they going to get any clean sheets, really? The answer is I don't think they are. First and foremost, I don't think they're going to get clean sheets. I really don't. I think Bournemouth will score against them, and I also think Everton will score as well. Which then you look at the goals. Are Liverpool going to score lots of goals? If they are, is Trent Alexander-Arnold going to be involved? Because remember, if you bring in Slot, it's team goals. Whereas if you've got Trent Alexander, you rely solely on him, don't you, to get the points? Half the reason why I went with Arne Slot myself, one, it was easy to do. Gerard Quansah's an easy transfer out, isn't he, really, for me? And then bringing in Arne Slot, kind of a no-brainer if you can. My issue, and as I said early on at the beginning of this show, sorry, I got a bit tickly cough. As I said at the beginning of this show, one thing you've got to remember is you don't want to be ripping up your team completely. Trent might do quite well this game week. Even if he doesn't, you've now got to try and get him back in again. He's just got up in price, as we just saw there on Reddit as well, showing the price changes. So you've got to be careful with that, really. My honest opinion is it might be a bit more aggro. If you don't have the free transfers to do it first and foremost, do you really want to waste in -4, -8? Are you going to be able to claw that back? That's the question, isn't it, really? You've got to claw back these points to make it worthwhile. I would say probably not. I would say stick with your team as it is now and see if you can do something else. Maybe go another double Everton. If you haven't got Ilan and Dye and you've got an opportunity, maybe bring him in. So Ilman and Dye might be a man to bring in if you haven't already got Mikalenko. Pickford, perhaps. It depends on the rest of your team, really. If you've got 2 free transfers, consider that instead. If you have 2 free transfers, then you take out Trent. Maybe you bring in Slot, but you've got to factor in bringing him back, because there's no doubt in your mind you're probably thinking, I wish I had him back in X amount of days' time or weeks' time, maybe the next game week. So for me personally, if you've got the free transfers and you can plot a way of bringing back Trent without wasting too much money, then go for it. But if you don't have the free transfers, Slot is not worth -8, for example, or something extreme to bring in someone out. The problem is because you have triple Liverpool potentially. That's where your issue is, really. So be careful with that. I think be careful. I'm doing it because it's easy. A lot of other people are doing it because they may not have triple Liverpool and can afford to bring in Slot to take up the final position. But don't go wild and think cleanly about it. You do still have an hour and a bit, so don't panic about it too much. You've got about an hour 45 before the deadline. So have a look maybe on the forums, see if you can be swayed. But at the end of the day, fantasy is all about your decision. And don't forget, it's a game. It's supposed to be fun. So don't get all stressy about it if you don't. Even if you're in a mini league and you're doing it for money, is the answer to that one. Someone else said, is it worth getting rid of Gakpo? It's all about assistant managers at the moment. These DMs that I've had, assistant managers. It's weird. Put them in the comments, people. Stop DMing me. No, keep DMing me. It's fine. the answer to that one, Gakpo, he's an interesting one, isn't he, really? Due to go up in price, actually. But so many people I've read on the internet are trying to get rid of him and bring in Slot. Slot seems to be the way to go. I do have a question, by the way, about something else in a minute, so I'll finish with the third question. Gakpo for Slot. That's a transfer you never thought you'd have. I think the answer to that really is because Gakpo may not play every single game they play, even if they've got double fixtures and 5 games or whatever in game weeks. Don't forget, with Gakpo, you get 2 fixtures, and same with Trent, don't you, essentially? You get the double game week. Now you get double game. You can get him back again, can't you? Maybe Gakpo for Slot if you've got the free transfers, yeah. Probably, because you run a risk with Gakpo that he's not going to play every single game, despite the fact that he's explosive and he's brilliant. If you've got Salah, there's your explosive player, and you've got a defender, potentially Trent, maybe Virgil van Dijk, something like that. They're the popular ones. Konate's big right now as well because of his price. Yeah, maybe Gakpo for Slot. Not sure about Trent, but Gakpo maybe for Slot would be a good shout. All assistant manager questions. It's like I'm going to answer for you and do it for you. I can't do it for you, unfortunately. Moyes is the next one. Is it worth bringing in Moyes for 0.5 million this week and then changing him? I've read this so much. Have you guys read this on Reddit and all over this is such a big topic, isn't it, really? And the reason being is because you get more points, don't you, for playing a team that's several positions higher than you, 5 positions higher than yours. So, don't you? Everton, obviously, and Liverpool is huge, the difference between the two of them. So, if Everton do well, first and foremost against Leicester, and then they do well against Liverpool, which you expect them to do okay against, then there's a big upside to having Moyes. Quite frankly, if I'm honest with you, if I couldn't squeeze in Slot like I have, and the double game week wasn't the thing, or wasn't even mentioned, I would say Moyes would 100% be the man I look at for my assistant manager chip this week. I would go with it. I would burn that chip. A lot of people are saying get rid of it. I agree. Do get rid of it if you can afford to do so, if you can plot your way and navigate your way to getting decent points. Moyes is definitely the man if you don't have Slot. You bring him in for the first 2, and then you potentially kick him out. So you do that instead, and that's the best way to do it. That's what I would do personally. See how you go. Hello, thanks for your comment over there. AB, cheers for that. So, who should I captain? Haaland, Palmer, or Arnold? Oh, that's a question and a half. Are you not tempted by Trent purely because he's got a double game week and then something like that? I mean, the fixture against Bournemouth is going to be a tricky one. You know that, I've already said that. I can't see them getting clean sheets, unfortunately, my friend. I really can't. I can see Bournemouth scoring. That's the problem you have, really. The question then is you rely on Trent getting points for assists or goals, and he's more than capable of doing that, isn't he? And then you've got your Everton fixture, haven't you? I guess if it was me, if you haven't got Salah, I assume you haven't got Salah because you haven't mentioned him in there at all. If you don't have Salah, then obviously you look at it and you think, probably Trent. Any other season, and you think to yourself, oh, Bournemouth. Yeah, Liverpool. Fancy Liverpool against Bournemouth. Oh, fancy Liverpool against Everton, maybe. I just think because you're double game week, my friend, I think I'd go with Arnold, Trent. I really would, especially if you don't have Salah. But the obvious answer to that is if you've got Salah, don't even mention the other 3. You've got a captain. You can see in my team already, I've got Salah as a captain. By the way, if you don't have Salah, there's something wrong with you. No offense. But yeah, quite frankly, that'll answer your question. Salah or Trent, because you mentioned Alexander-Arnold there as well. So there's your answer to that. Thanks for popping that message. You squeezed that in quite well, didn't you? Like a little ninja just as I was finishing off there. So yeah, you don't have Salah. Oh, dearie me. What have you been doing? I don't know what his ownership is now, right, Salah? Is it 70% or something like that? Wow. Okay. To answer your question, and not to make you feel too bad, man, I would go with Trent. I really would. You got to do a Liverpool asset, don't you, really? Plus, you won't fall behind as badly because remember, most people are going to be captaining Salah this game week. They're doing it because it's a double game week, really, aren't they? They are. They're doing it because Liverpool have got 2 fixtures, irrespective. Salah's great, but they're doing it because of the double fixture. You have Trent. You have Trent Alexander-Arnold. So at least you've got a player who's got a double fixture. So, and if we're being really honest, just to finish off with yourself, Trent's usually involved in bits in some form, isn't he? He kind of is, and he's got a decent assist and sort of output. So I think if you don't have Mo, you go with Trent Alexander-Arnold for that one. Thanks for your question, though. Yeah, it's good. I like that. That was a good one. You threw a curveball at me there because I was thinking you didn't mention Salah. If you got any more questions, guys, really quickly get them in because I'm finishing off in a second. Otherwise, as always, leave the comments. Don't be afraid. Just because it's not live, I'll still pick them up. I'll still chat to you guys. I'll still give you my thoughts. We do still have an hour and 40 minutes until the deadline. So I will do my best to keep an eye on it, but I will nip out about 10:30ish. So obviously I can't help you after 10:30. You're on your own. But yeah, do check it out. I mean, to be honest, the answer to your question, Trent, answer to my question, slot was my big decision this game week. If you can get slot in, by the way, I've thrown that at you there. If you can get an assistant manager in this week, consider it. You know, I've just said about Moyes. If you've got triple Liverpool, but if you don't have triple Liverpool, then maybe slot, chuck him in. I think if there's a double game week this week and the next week, then you guys are going to get the max out of that chip. And I think that's essentially what the chip's all about, isn't it, really? How much can you get out of it? How much can you get? Can you squeeze every last point out of it, really? And I'm riding the crest of a wave, really, because a lot of people are doing the assistant manager chip, the ass man chip. I'll be doing the same. Very simply put, I'll be doing the same this game week. I've already activated it. I've already bought in slot. I'm hoping that Liverpool do the business in the Carabao Cup, and I'm hoping then we've got a double game week, and then they'll have obviously Manchester City after that. But that's just a bonus game, isn't it? Really, at the end, you're always going to get that game. So as always, hello. Oh, you cheeky boy, Harley, you squeezed that in just as I was about to say. I'm finishing up. Right, go on then. Let's see what you got to say. Gakpo and Eze to Kluivert and Watkins plus slot for -4. First and foremost, do you know Kluivert's gone up in price? There you go. He has. He went up today. So are you going to consider bringing back Gakpo, Eze or Kluivert at some point if you are factoring their prices? Otherwise, Watkins and Kluivert. Kluivert versus Liverpool. That's what you got to ask. Possibly, yeah. He's doing all right. He's got a decent form, hasn't he, Kluivert? Watkins has got good form as well. -4 is the question, isn't it, really? Can you claim back -4? Can you get back that 4 points, do you think? That's the question, isn't it? I think you probably could. I do think you probably could. Villa, don't forget, might have a couple of fixtures coming up, but that might be the next game week, actually. So, yeah, the answer to that one, it's not normal that I commit to something like this, but I would say I think that's a good shout, you know. Kluivert's a good player. He's on form, isn't he, right now? Can he do the business against Liverpool? We'll see. Watkins is good. He's got Wolves, haven't they, this week, I think. He might be good. He'll probably get a goal in that game. And Slot's the man, isn't he, really? Everyone's looking at. You're going to get a double game week if you bring him in. And that's the only reason I've done it, to be honest with you. I haven't been in the same position as you where I haven't had to waste the -4. I've been quite lucky, you know, that I've just kicked out, you know, Kwanzaa from my team, brought in Greaves, like-for-like swap, and then done the slot. Answer that, I would think about it, Harley. Yeah, I really would. I would very much prepare to press transfer on that. I don't think that's too bad. You know, if you'd have put something wild, I would have said no, don't even go there. So the answer is, yeah, I would consider that one very much so. Obviously, that decision lies with you. Okay, but I do like the players that you've put there in terms of swapping. You know, Eze, is he going to do much against United? Maybe. Gakpo's got a double fixture. That's the only reason why I think. But will he play both? If he does, okay. What's the upside to Gakpo versus Watkins? Maybe a goal. Both of them get a goal. Then you got the same points at the end of it, haven't you? Yeah, consider it, my friend. Consider it, Harley. You squeezed that in just as I was finishing off, so you threw a curveball at me there. But yeah, see how you go. All right, keep it on your transfer list. Keep it prepped. Maybe make a last-minute decision, but be careful because that system's glitchy. The closer you get to 11 o'clock, yeah, the more likely is it won't let you do it. So, yeah, keep your finger on the trigger. And my simple answer to that is just read what other people have said about it, and maybe it might convince you otherwise. From my perspective, I like that. You haven't put rubbish players in there. You put some good players in terms of swaps. All right, I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for your comments as always. So, top one, Trent, captain him if you don't have Salah. Bottom one, consider that transfer. Looks like a potential good call, that one. All right, guys. Cool. Check me out on 8:45 next week, Saturday. I'm doing Saturday mornings. It's pretty much consistent as always. As always, like, subscribe, and follow. Let your friends and family know, and any dudes and dudettes you see in the street that I am doing fantasy stuff. I'm quite neutral as well. I'm not pushy. I'm not going to go mental with a lot of stuff. And I am very much live. I do everything. I'm sat here in a conservatory. I haven't got some fancy, pretentious equipment or anything like that. I quite literally just talk to you about something that I really enjoy. Okay, I've been doing fantasy for years. I love it. I love the whole thing about it. I don't get stressy really. So ask me questions. I'll answer stuff. Have a great day, guys. As always, thanks for watching. You guys are awesome. Keep watching as always. Check out my socials, and I'll see you fantastic people next Saturday at 8:45. As always, I've been AJ. Peace out.